This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. I am joined by our distinguished panel for our roundtable. I got Frank D. Scott Jr., Jessica Deloach Sabin. Thanks to both of y'all for being here.
Thank you.
And we are going to talk about what the Arkansas legislature didn't do in this last legislative session. What did they not get to? I'm going to come to you first, Frank. What is a topic or a subject or a piece of legislation that they should have done that they didn't?
Well, first and foremost, from a city and county perspective, I think the online sales tax presented by Senator Jake Fowles did not get passed through the House. It did get passed through the Senate. It's something that's near and dear to a lot of cities and counties, and part of the reason why some cities and counties aren't meeting their budgets.
All right, Jessica, I'm going to come back to you for a second one, Frank, but Jessica, first round, what do you got?
Pre-K. I think that there should have been a stronger move to make...
Because there was some funding.
There was some funding, but it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough, and that's an investment in our children, and we know that everything we've ever read about pre-K says, hey, invest in your kids. This pays off in the long run, and we need to do better in the investment we're making in them.
You know a guy up there that did work on getting some pre-K passed. I think you're married to him, if I'm not mistaken there. Why did they not do more? Was the budget too tight? Was there just not a desire or willingness there?
I think, one, yes, the budget is a bit too tight, but the budget is about priorities right now. Not to say necessarily that it's not a priority, because it did get funded about $3 million, but when you really look at it, you need about $20 million to really make sure that pre-K can be fully funded from a perspective from Arkansas Advocates and Children's and Families perspective.
I've heard $40 million. Well,
I'm trying to keep things conservative.
What do you think, Jessica?
Hey, if you want to throw $40 million at it, I'm all about it, Robbie. I think that's perfectly fine.
That's the problem. Throw $40 million at it.
Right,
It can't be thrown. It's got to be more strategically
directed
than that, so.
Toward our children. And I do, but Frank's point is that's what the focus is. It's how can you do something that is in keeping with what we can afford to do, but also looking ahead to the future and saying, if we can't afford the things that we should be investing in, what do we need to change to do better?
Guns on campuses. All right, so Frank, I'm going to give you a round two. What else should the legislature have gotten to, but they didn't?
As a former highway commissioner, I tried my best not to state it earlier. I would have stated that the HB 17, 26, and 27, which is effectively the highway funding improvement plan, which reaches about $200 million. So thankful for Representative Dan Douglas and all he's been doing as a Lionheart for the highways. That $200 million is a program for the entire state and how we maintain our funds, and we reached so many different funding gaps. But it was not addressed. Thankfully, it will be addressed. Some say will be addressed maybe in a special session, but maybe we have to look at some tax reform first.
Well, I talked with Senate Majority Leader Jim Hendren on our Sunday TV show, and that was the point that he made, is he felt like tax reform was going to have to happen before highway funding could happen. And Randy Zook, who was on the show yesterday, has actually agreed with that premise.
And I can understand from that premise, from our legislator and legislative leadership standpoint, is to let's get our house in order first from a tax reform perspective, and then figure out how we increase taxes for some areas that really need it. But I think everyone understands that we have to do something with highways. It's just a matter of when, not necessarily if. And I'm hoping that when comes really, really soon, because infrastructure funding is going to be the crux and very critical to economic development.
Jessica, is it okay if they take some money from general revenues for some of those transportation-related
Look, we all know
Now,
what
we've had that fight before now.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I know what you're trying to do.
He's trying to pin it up.
That's
What
right.
he's doing. But
No.
Good to you.
All right. What is your second round here?
So
What
Representative Charles Blake introduced, or he was working to introduce a piece of legislation about universal voter registration, which I'm all for, because why not engage your citizens? Why not make it easier for them to vote, but in a way that is managed? What he introduced was something that was pulled really before it got started, because there were some objections to what the cost would be, which was very minimal, about $42,000. And I think actually he ended up working out a situation with the Secretary of State's office to where that cost was gone. But unfortunately, the clock ran down on him and he wasn't able to reintroduce that bill. But this is something that would have streamlined that registration process. It would have automatically removed the deceased from our voter rolls, which would be really great considering how many people are worried about voter fraud.
Right.
So I don't really know
could
why.
you do same-day registration? You show up to vote, you wind up registering?
I don't know. actually.
I don't know if that was part of the bill.
Yeah,
or
I don't
not.
think
I
that
don't
it
think it
was,
was.
because that would be a totally different situation. And here's the other thing. I don't think that same-day voter registration is something that would work out very well with that legislation, because one of the objections to it was that county clerks were like, whoa, hold on a second, this could create some serious problems for us. We could be overburdened if we do this. And so that's a whole other can of worms, and that hasn't gone over very well in other states, so I don't think it would go over very well here.
All right, I'm just going to go one round here, but I wanted to see Clark Tucker's and Warwick Sabin's effort to disclose the dark money funding in Arkansas. That was, we deal with it way too much from our perspective of not knowing where some of these third-party ads are coming from and who's paying for them and who's trying to influence our elections. That should have been done. But anyhow.
Rule number one, follow the money.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Frank D. Scott Jr., Jessica Deloach Sabin, thank you both for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. And we are back with a hint on our Talk Business and Politics question of the week right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us. Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
Well, on Tuesday, we dropped our question of the week. Just a reminder, here's how it works. We roll out the question on Tuesday, a hint on Wednesday, and the winner on Thursday. The question is, in 1874, when the current Arkansas Constitution was passed by a vote of the people, what was the percentage of passage in that vote? Here's your hint. It passed by nearly 54,000 votes. You still have to come up with the percentage of the Arkansas Constitution's passage in October of 1874. Send your guesses and answers my way by email at roby@talkbusiness.net, by Twitter @RobyBrock, or through Facebook by finding our Talk Business and Politics statewide Facebook page. We're looking for one winner, and if you guess right and you're picked, you'll be the recipient of a Starbucks gift card worth $25 and a Talk Business and Politics mug. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you tomorrow.